choose your friends wisely. Thanks to directives from His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid and UAE's leadership in general, you will see a lot of focus on innovation and entrepreneurship within UAE's universities and schools in the last 5 years. If I were to give Gen Z a superpower, then I would give them the superpower of struggling and the superpower of ethics and empathy. We give them the tools, the resources, the mentorship, which they can use to either launch great businesses, great social projects, or launch their own careers. So we focus on entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship broadly. Overall, Unipreneur has generated more than 500,000 dirhams in cash stipends to students, in prize money, and other benefits like giving them booths to exhibit their ideas at events like GITEX UTech. Our vision is to create the world's best youth startup and innovation incubator.
Hi guys, before we get into the episode, here's the thing. This is my wallet. If you can see, there is no money in it. Do you know why? Because I spent all my money on this god-awful experiment of a podcast. So here's how you can get me paid. All you have to do is go to bit.ly/paylessfees. That is bit.ly/paylessfees. This is a link to secure my scholarship where they offer scholarships across 400 plus universities across UAE, US and UK. You can get your application fee waived off. You can get refunds on your TOEFL and IELTS. And at the end of the day, you can get me paid so I can put some money into this wallet. So it's very simple. Go to bit.ly/paylessfees. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Diaries. Today, we have an amazing guest who is the co-founder and the CEO of Unipreneur, an amazing organization that does quite a lot for young student entrepreneurs. Hi, Mukhtar. How are you doing?
Hey, Wakar. Hi, Iman.
Just give us a run-through of what the mission of Unipreneur is.
So Unipreneur is a combination of two words, which is university and entrepreneur. And Unipreneur is UAE's first youth entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship platform, which is based on the triple helix model of innovation. Now, if you ask what is the triple helix model of innovation, it's a very interesting model of innovation that brings together three important ecosystems in any country. And those three ecosystems are government, industry, companies, and so on and so forth. And number three is academia, universities and high schools. So our mission is to facilitate collaboration between these three ecosystems of the triple helix ecosystem, namely government, industry, and academia. And through that facilitation, we want to enable youth, especially in high schools, universities, fresh graduates, youth between 15 to 25 years of age. We want them to become inspiring future entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, and change makers.
Yeah, that makes sense because we know you through our university days.
Yeah.
Like that's how we actually got to know you and Unipreneur because we were the ones who, remember, we pitched our ideas.
That was
for you.
We got to know through a university.
Yeah.
And then I think now this cycle has become better, right? Like students refer other students.
Yeah.
But this was, I think, the first time you did it, the university referred us directly.
Yeah. This is an emotional moment for me. I need to maybe wipe some tears off because... no, just joking because obviously when you joined us in Unipreneur, you were students back then.
Yeah.
And you used to be involved as volunteers, ambassadors. You've pitched on our stage as hackathon competition participants, as speakers. So for us to see your growth as students to active participants and innovation engagements of ours as young speakers to somebody who are running their own successful, podcasting business whilst doing interesting J jobs. This is truly a proud moment. That's why I said, makes us cry from the heart.
Emotional.
Everybody talks about universities should encourage development of skills that help people get employed. And when I was a student, it made sense, right? Because I paid so much X amount of money to university. The end outcome is that I get a job, right? With the recent events in education institutes around the world, what is kind of interesting to see is that university's purpose is never to kind of teach students, right? Like they have like a trust fund, then they have like boards to manage
they
that
have to
fund.
teach students, that's why they're there.
Right.
But,
but it's slowly becoming a secondary objective. So in such an economy and such an environment where education is not the sole purpose of an organization, how do you deal with that? And how do you convince them that innovation and entrepreneurship is something that they should incorporate within their education?
You've spoken like a true future leader. And based on our experience and interaction with you, Iman, and the rest of the Unipreneur ambassadors, we've seen that future leadership potential in you, and which is why you're doing what you're doing here today. So that's where universities should be. Universities and education institutes, whilst teaching is the main component, but how you teach and how you make that learning experience more experiential, right? More innovation focused, more practical focused. That's where universities should lean towards. Currently, that's not the case. Most universities only teach, right? Yes, there is a good shift, especially in the UAE, thanks to directives from His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid and the UAE's leadership in general. You will see a lot of focus on innovation and entrepreneurship within UAE's universities and schools in the last 5 years. That's where the focus should be. What you're saying is that's where it should be. But currently, it's not not the status quo around the ecosystem. Still, a lot of universities and schools focus on the traditional methods of education and so on and so forth. But the outlook, the future foresight is very positive. Many universities and schools are changing towards the direction you just mentioned, where teaching, while is still a focus, but the focus on practical education, experiential innovation, these things are embedding within the education ecosystem. You will only see this increase, and universities that continue investing in experiential learning, innovation, entrepreneurship, hands-on experience, so that students, when they graduate, they just don't graduate with a school or university degree, they graduate with that much needed experience, because that's what industry asks, right? Where is your experience?
How exactly does Unipreneur help these students get like that experience or get like that practical skill set that you've mentioned?
What Unipreneur does is we organize a lot of innovation, entrepreneurship, career-focused events, hackathons, innovation engagements, where students are the core. Students are involved not only as organizers, ambassadors, but participants, speakers. I'll give you an example. UAE's biggest youth innovation conference is organized by Unipreneur, and it's called GITEX UTEX Unipreneur.
That's where we participated
a lot of the Unipreneur ambassadors met us, the Unipreneur team, through GITEX UTEX, yourselves as well.
Yeah.
So big thanks to the Dubai World Trade Center team, the Department of Economy and Tourism Dubai team, and the GITEX team for believing in us when we went to them with an idea saying that, listen, GITEX brings the world's best companies, government entities, Fortune 500 companies, CEOs, ministers, celebrities. But what's missing was academia. What's missing was youth, the future leaders. So why don't we bring these youth to meet existing leaders so that these young people can become future leaders? We organize these events and engagements where students are involved in organizing them. Like GITEX UTEX is UAE's biggest youth innovation, technology, entrepreneurship, intrapreneurship focused conference. It's organized by youth. So youth are involved as organizers, youth are involved as speakers, they pitch their ideas, they connect with mentors, investors. So this whole experience is what we create.
So you're saying that it's an event company or an events management company?
Yeah, it's not.
It's not.
So many people misunderstand Unipreneur to be an events company. Initially, when Unipreneur was born, conceptualized in 2019, our goal then and our goal now was to create the world's best youth innovation incubator. Like a startup incubator.
Yeah.
We wanted, and we still, our vision is to create the world's best youth startup and innovation incubator, where youth are invited into this really cool space where they can experiment with startup ideas, they can experiment with career development ideas, and we give them the tools, the resources, the mentorship, which they can use to either launch great businesses, great social projects, or launch their own careers. So we focus on entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship broadly.
A key thing that Unipreneur does has a very deep-rooted social impact to it. But for it to continue, it has to be also financially sustainable, right? What is the model behind Unipreneur that makes it financially sustainable?
He's basically asking you where the money comes from.
So that's a good question. Many people wonder, how does Unipreneur make money? And in a way, it's good for us. If people think Unipreneur is not making money, fine, it's good. That means they don't know you're making money and how much, but we're making decent amount of money.
Yeah, because you sponsor all the pizza after the events.
We make sure the student doesn't spend. That's the uniqueness of Unipreneur. In all of Unipreneur's events, hackathons, industry challenges, and different entrepreneurship, startup, career-focused programs we do, none of the students pay anything. In fact, we pay for a lot of things, and we pay students stipends as well. We've paid, alhamdulillah, more than 50,000-60,000 dirhams just in stipends to students that we have paid cash. Overall, Unipreneur has generated more than 500,000 dirhams, 500,000 dirhams, more than 500,000 dirhams in cash stipends to students, in prize money, and other benefits like giving them booths to exhibit their ideas at events like GITEX, UTEX, Unipreneur, and so on and so forth. Right? So yeah, obviously the question comes, if there's so much being given away along with free pizzas and stuff like that, then where do we make money? And we make money by organizing events, engagements, industry challenges. There is an increased appetite in the ecosystem today, especially in the UAE. Again, thanks to the UAE leadership's directives, UAE government entities, companies, universities are now spending more towards entrepreneurship, innovation within campuses. When that happens, they need an expert, a specialist to come and run entrepreneurship programs, innovation programs, career programs for students.
And that's where you come in?
That's where we come in. For our clients that we facilitated, alhamdulillah, has crossed more than probably 2-3 million dirhams. I'm lowering the figures so that I don't want to, sound exaggerated.
So Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. There is a social.
She just complained that you interrupt a lot before the
Yeah,
chat.
he does.
It's
I'm joking.
It's like that narcissistic,
No.
attitude that he has on, like, yeah, I'm the best. And you know what? That kind of like, this is one thing that, yeah, okay, you know what? I have to beat him too.
And
I
let's
think-
not do Abu Bakr bashing.
No,
We
it's
have a lot
fine.
of
Like
regard for both of you.
I've heard enough of this now. So I think like since university we very competitive, both
Yeah,
of us.
yeah.
Like
Nice.
we like
We-
compete. So this is all fair.
And I think that kind of healthy, innovative competition is led you to do such amazing things like
Yeah.
this. So hats off to your partnership.
Actually, he's the reason why I have better grades, because we would always compete
Yeah,
together.
it's not about the grades at sometimes.
it's about
Sometimes it's
beating
about
each
like
other.
just beating her.
It's
Yeah.
just for the sake
No,
of
that's
it.
how best friends are. Like, I mean, one moment she calls you a narcissist, and one moment she praises you also. So
I
that's
think
how-
I'm his only friend.
yeah, that's
Only.
how best friends are. And I think university students should also realize that choose your friends wisely.
Yeah.
This is just
Yeah.
off the beat advice. So a lot of students ask me, sir, what's your advice to become a successful entrepreneur? There are many things, like we focus a lot on ethics, how you treat people, being more patient. Because these things I have learned with a lot of mistakes. I still am not a perfect person. I still constantly ask myself, am I doing the right thing? Am I dealing with people well? Because for some people it doesn't come naturally. You need to
Yeah.
beat yourself into being a good person. However, the point I was trying to make here is choose good friends.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
I would agree, because
Yeah.
with him, I've actually learned a lot.
Yeah.
Like in terms of, mostly it comes from finance.
Yeah.
Like he's the reason why
Yeah.
I'm starting up my savings account. I'm
Yeah.
having like an investment plan. I would actually give it to you.
Yeah.
So did you have?
take it. Give me the returns as well,
That's
like-
it. That's the only thing I can give him.
Put money where your mouth's at. Like
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
What
So
was-
like,
what was your question? Did I have what?
so did you have like friends like him, or like what was
or
your?
were you the friend?
Or were you that friend?
Great question. I when it comes to the topics of friends, I get very emotional because after Alhamdulillah, God, and after my immediate family,
Mhm.
my friends are the reason why I'm here today. My best friends, I owe it a lot to them because I was lucky enough that God surrounded me with good people. And interestingly, my mother used to tell me, I like mothers pray for their kids, right? And their duas are very, very powerful.
Yeah.
That's why you should treat and respect your parents a lot. And I think that's one of the secret mantras of a businessman's success. You treat your folks well, and then automatically God makes things good for you. So my mom used to tell me, I used to make dua for you, that you should be surrounded by good people. And in my life, I'm always surrounded by few but good people. People who share common values of ethics, morals,
Mhm.
transparency, trustworthiness, truthfulness, and also people who are wise. So answer to your question is, no, I was surrounded by people like that. I was the naughtiest of the lot. So in my friend
So you're
gang,
the bad influence.
yeah, no, I mean, I was not a bad influence because
It's
one more
okay, you
thing
can
is
relate to
none of
him.
us had any bad habits in college. That's one of the things I think that helped us being creative is we never smoked, we never drank, we maintained that line always in terms of respecting anybody for that matter. Yeah, so I had friends who always used to pull me down. They're like, shut up and sit. If a fight's happening, don't jump as the first person to retaliate. Just be calm. And I think that's something I learned from my friends. In general, they taught me to be more wise, more calm, because certain people naturally are very hot-headed. Like I'm naturally like that. But not only in terms of improving your own attitude and character, in terms of finance, what I learned from my friends was, number one, do not do excessive spending.
Yeah.
And do not spend beyond what is there's a word in Hindi called aukat.
Yeah. Aukat.
So you should aukat se zyada mat spend karna.
What does aukat
Aukat
mean?
means range.
Range, or I think
Range, yeah.
Range.
that's-
Some people say class.
Yeah, that's what's
range.
class.
I think
So-
range is the more
Better way of saying.
decent way of saying
not
it.
Yeah.
decent way. Like contextually, that is
Contextually,
the,
Yeah.
So, for example, if you're earning 5,000 dirhams as your job, and in which after all your main expenses, your savings are maybe 1,000 dirhams, then don't go for a 3,000 dirhams phone. And
Yeah.
because back then in college, a lot of students and even fresh graduates, they used to buy stuff that was beyond their capacity, and they would go for credit cards and stuff like that. So that is something not only my friends but even my father. He's a very inspiring businessman. For me, for business, he's my inspiration.
Mhm.
And he's always told me, never take a credit card, never
Yeah.
get into this mindset that if you can't afford it, you take loan. So whatever you can buy within your current capacity, buy. Keep working hard. There will come a time we'll have enough money to buy what you wanted to buy earlier. with cash.
What was the financial decisions that you had to take as a part of your personal expenses versus the expenses where you had to take for your startup?
I had this very frugal mentality of spending, right? I would only spend on what is absolutely necessary, because in my early startup days, there have been days where I literally couldn't afford food, right? And I would go to the Zoom supermarket, and I remember a day where I had only 5 dirhams with me then. So, I had to spend in a manner where I buy a banana for 1 dirham, I buy a sandwich for 2 dirhams, and save the remaining for buying one more banana at night. But see, alhamdulillah, my parents were here, but I had this mentality that I'm no more, my parents had done so much for me in my life. I think I had taken from them more than needed. So a point came, I said, I'm not going to take from my parents anymore. Even if I'm going to struggle, even if I'm going to sleep hungry, I'll do it. That brought in a sense of frugal spendingness in my mind, where I only bought stuff that I feel is absolutely necessary. So that frugal spendingness is still there. Now, a little bit, I'm able to spend a little bit more than frugalness limit, But even now, I'm very careful about what I spend. My wife is also like that. She's like, every dirham, she's like, is this really necessary? So once you get into that nature of spending wisely and calculatively, when you start a startup as well, it shows, So you spend for things that are absolutely necessary. For example, your trade license, for example, your company's website, office resources, hiring the right people. You start by spending at things that are really necessary, and you make best and most efficient use of your limited resources. There is a very nice word in Arabic and also Urdu. It's called baraka.
Yeah,
baraka is God's blessing in your earnings. You will find people who earn 3,000 dirhams as a salary and they're very happy. That is what I call as baraka, because they have certain values and ethos because of which they're content, and God puts blessings in whatever they're earning.
My mom has this habit, right? If we have, let's say for example, if our fridge is empty, my mom's like, everything's baraka.
Yeah.
Tamil, what they say is jamanla illa barakat ella barakat. If you have a lot of things, that is also baraka, right?
Yeah.
Everything's baraka. It's like, like you passed on that liability to somebody else, and that is like a interesting, there is sort of that gratefulness in having nothing.
It's like the mindset also.
Absolutely.
Having that mindset there. Okay, one day it will all be done.
And it's the less is more mindset.
Yeah.
You've heard it many times, right? Less is more. Unfortunately, today we live in a world where more is never enough. It will never satisfy a human being's need. And we are bombarded by videos and so-called influencers coming onto our face, and it's all about that fast life, and I hate these videos where this guy goes and asks, hey, cool Bentley, what do you do for a living? I would like to see people going and speaking to social change makers, people, startup founders, who are not asked questions based on what they're driving, but they ask questions based on the impact they're creating. There has to be a balance. I'm not saying that shouldn't be there. Fine, you ask somebody who's driving a Bentley what he does. Of course, if he's earned money in a halal manner and got that Bentley, good. And if he's impacting people in a good manner, good. I'm not saying you shouldn't drive a Bentley, but apart from you driving a Bentley, if your employees are happy, if their employees are driving what they like, if they're living a good life, if you're paying them well, if you're treating them well, if your friends, family are happy, if you're doing charity, if you're paying your zakah on time, if you do all of this and then you drive a Bentley, hats off to you.
We hear a lot of things. There's news articles after news articles about how Gen Z are lazy, they don't want to work anymore. How true is that?
Interesting question that takes us into controversial waters, because some might like what I say, some might don't, but I'm going to keep it real, right? So let's start with the pros. Gen Zs are a generation today that have a lot of interesting abilities and skills in them, and the way they perceive the world is truly different and admirable also in some way, because they don't have certain elements that hold them back like previous generation held back. There are no prejudices, there are no cultural prejudices, especially when it comes to gender equality and stuff like that, right? Everybody is equal in terms of talent. If you're talented, if you're innovative, then you have enough and more resources available today. Number two, the environment has favored Gen Zs a lot. This is a great environment for youth today. If you want to become a successful intrapreneur, want to do something with a career, there are multiple options. People are encouraging youth today to pursue unconventional career paths, not only stick to engineering or becoming a doctor. Now creative arts are being encouraged. Coding is encouraged because a lot of the things are given to them in a platter. Some of them tend to become lazy. Some of them tend to develop a arrogant attitude, which is a big red flag. But unfortunately, again, another cons of being a Gen Z is Gen Z's role models, most of them are like that. These Jake Paul types, they're all in your face, flashy, arrogant, swearing. I hate those kind of influencers, What values have they presented? Are they teaching youth to be ethical, truthful, transparent, moral? No. Everything they push out there is filthy.
You are somebody who focuses on that struggle, right? Like you, entrepreneurship, academics, and career, right? Versus these day tradings. How do you feel that, or do you feel that the Gen Z or the young people are being influenced by these sort of like get rich quick schemes rather than putting struggle into it?
Because they're used to it, right? We are in a generation where food can be ordered in 10 minutes.
Ah,
Instant everything, instant this, instant food, instant clothing. So they think that you can make money also instantly. Making money is not a Maggie 2-minute things where you just do something, snap your fingers, and you get money. That's a very big misconception. And money shouldn't be made like that. You need to understand the golden principle of money making and finances. Making lasting good money is tough. If you're making money quickly, then there's most likely something wrong with it. Most scams are run like that. Right? Earn money quick, get rich quick. Good money is money that is made sincerely. If you want to earn that kind of halal good money, it's going to take some time. NVIDIA CEO said a very interesting thing at a conference a couple of months back, saying that if I were along the lines of if you were to give young people a gift, it would be the gift of struggle. Right? He's emphasized on the quality of struggle, and I believe the same. If I were to be able to give a youngster in my family a gift, then I would give him the gift of struggle. I'm not talking the kind of struggle where you throw him, on the road and make him literally beg and all of that, but something that's very balanced, where they're outside their comfort zone. They understand what pain is. They understand what hunger is. They understand what struggle is. That is something I would highly. If I were to give Gen Z a superpower, then I would give them the superpower of struggling and the superpower of ethics and empathy.
This might be a controversial point, right? Like, do you think like the idea of like, Forbes 30 under 30 and everything, does that illustriousness or the sheen of those things have something to do with the prevalence of get rich quick scheme? I know Reem is also Forbes 30 under 30, if I'm not wrong. So I would say
it's okay. You can speak your mind. She won't watch
that
this.
sort of accolades and things, does it feed into that quick rich scheme ka mentality?
Yeah, just to clarify for Reem, this was not a preconceived question. No, I mean, actually, I forgot Reem was also Forbes 30 under 30. But no, for some people, like since we're speaking about Reem, and she's the co-founder of Unipreneur, and she's done phenomenal work as a co-founder, and she's added great value to us, and to a great extent where we are today is because of her efforts. And for some people, they deserve it. I'm not telling Reem since she's my co-founder, but some people, we work with them closely. They don't aspire to get that label. Like Reem, if you look at her, I always complain, you hardly promote yourself. She doesn't post anything on LinkedIn, doesn't post anything on Instagram, and she doesn't care. And actually, these are the genuine kind of people, when they get such accolades, you like, well deserved. So if you're not behind that label, but you're getting it genuinely because of your hard work, good. But if you're somebody whose your focus is, I want to get into Forbes 30 and 30, then that's the wrong strategy.
So when you're looking at businesses and how to run them and everything, who would you say is the role model for you to run a business, to manage your finances? Who is your go-to person?
Great question. So this question has 3 layers, right? There's the personal layer, there's a current affairs layer, and the historical layer. So personally, my first role model is my father. Right? My father was 19 when he came to Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first jobs my father did was, he was a cart puller on the streets of Dubai. He used to pull a cart. And he's done many menial jobs like this, which I mean, I'm not saying menial in a negative tone, but hard jobs. So he's done that. He's been a trader. He's worked as a receptionist. Eventually, he joined this company called Alpha Tame. He did well because he was a hard worker, go-getter. And now he's a successful businessman in the automobile industry. So he's my first role model, mainly because of his business ethics. He always he taught me this: if you are charging a customer 10 dirhams, make sure that you're giving value either equivalent or more than 10 dirhams. Make sure that the customer is given good value. Don't try to underchange the customer in terms of what you're giving back. So give good value, quality of your products and service. Be truthful. If you can do something, say I can do it. If you can't do, you can't. So I think these values of transparency, trust, ethics is what I learned from my father, along with hard work. He's somebody like that. And obviously for him, he's also very concerned about whether the source of the money is halal. Are we earning in a halal manner? Are we being rightful to people and stuff like that? So first one is my dad and my mom as well, because if without my mom's support, my dad couldn't have done it. Like how today I am because of my wife and my mom. So my mom as well. She's a teacher by profession, but she has very good business sense. A lot of the times I ask my mother for business advice and it always works out. And then number two, from a local perspective, I think UAE's leaders, right? Like for example, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid is a great role model. If you look at it, Dubai is the world's most successful startup. Many people have said this. The way Dubai was shaped and propelled was like a phenomenal startup story, right? It's like seeing in the movies, like the people feel the hero is not going to win, he's not going to make it. Dubai has made it because they've stuck to their values of ethics, principles, hard work. No, don't mind what people say, what people do. Just do your things sincerely, diligently. So in that way, I think His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid is a great role model in terms of business and how perseverant he's been. And also for me, historically speaking, a very interesting role model is Khadija, God bless her, the wife of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Why? Is because she was an entrepreneur. Many people don't know Khadija was an entrepreneur. She was a very famous businesswoman. Interestingly, entrepreneurship is what brought Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Khadija together, because Khadija liked the truthfulness of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And that truthfulness is what she found very interesting. And that's what brought them together. He is the greatest man that walked the earth. He was supported by a businesswoman. Many people don't know this. That's the value of a businesswoman or a businessman or an entrepreneur in general, right? He was supported by her, and obviously he's the greatest. But I think that's why for me, Khadija is a very inspiring example. And to that effect, even Prophet Muhammad is a great example of a businessman, because he was a very trustworthy and truthful businessman. I think that's where I'll end here. So for those of you young people looking to be successful in business or career, I think these are qualities you can take from Prophet Muhammad and Khadija. Truthfulness, loyalty, these things are very hard to come by. And in today's generation, if somebody has these characteristics, hats off to them.
What's the worst thing you've said to a girl that you regret now?
There's so many things I forgot. So, it'll be usually kiddish stuff, like...
or an embarrassing moment that you've done that you've regretted.
So back then, certain words, certain lingos were new, right?
Yeah.
Like there was this word called freak.
Yeah,
freak.
yeah.
Hey, let's freak out. Back then in my days, so I didn't really know. I didn't really know what it meant. I didn't know. So one day, a girl who I liked, I'm like, "Hey, are you a freak?" She never spoke to me after that.
With the this.
Yeah.
This.
No, I know. I told her, "You look like a freak." What I meant was,
Arun, did you really dirty, man?
Sorry?
Arun, did you really dirty?
Yeah, man. I thought it meant. What I wanted to say was, hey, you look like a cool person. Like stupid guy in me that time should have just said, hey, you look cool. I'm like, hey, you look like a freak, and that's it.
Did you actually do this?
No.
Thank God.
I don't think this was a time. There was a time when people did this, but I said that, and I was like, I could sense the shock on her. I'm like, she was like, is this guy for real? For sure she would have blocked me. From that day onwards, I don't think she ever spoke to me.
Huh.
So I've said such kiddish stuff.
Who's the calm one in between you and your wife?
Definitely my wife. Definitely. We're completely different people. My wife is very calm, calculated. She's a nerd by nature. And I've always been a backbencher and last in everything in terms of academics. So I think her calmness brings a lot of greatness to our marriage and our business as well. Oh. So any issues, I go speak to her. She's like calmly, she'll advise me. She's like, okay, no problem. Do this. Don't be a jerk next time. Do this, do that. And like,
don't say freak.
Yeah, don't say freak.
Jeez.
All right.
I think
great.
that.
Thanks, guys. So that last segment was a
We
bonus
never do
segment.
that actually. We never do that. The last segment.